let's talk about practice, because practice allows us to prepare our talk so we can take the stage and communicate with clarity and confidence. The practice part of communicating is really when it comes down to responsibility. That's your responsibility as a communicator. Some people say, oh, I'm going to wing it. I want to speak extemporaneously. The reality is you're failing first before you practice to prepare. You don't want to step on a stage and not know where you're leading your audience. And so practice allows you to prepare, but it's really your discipline in the practice that helps you take the stage with confidence. I'm going to share with you how I practice personally, and this may apply to you, but there may be one or two takeaways for you in my method of practice. So first of all, I always create an outline of my talk based on the function and the format that I shared earlier with the attention getter, the introduction, the body, the summary, and the dismount. And so I write those out in kind of like a summary form. So that allows me to see in a one sheet what my talk is all about. And then what I'll often do is I go for walks or bike rides. I like practicing with movement. And so I don't ever practice in front of a mirror, but because I don't see myself when I speak. So I like to practice in movement. Sometimes for me, it's because that allows a little bit more muscle memory. So I'll go for a walk or a bike ride and I'll just start talking my talk or thinking my talk. And then when I'm driving to the place I'm going to speak, a lot of times I'll listen to music to relax my mind before I get there, which I'll talk about that in just a moment. So first of all, the first part of practicing is really creating that one sheet. That one sheet is really the summary of your talk all in one place that you can see what your attention getter is, your introduction, your body, your summary, and your dismount. I often put at the bottom of each of my one sheets these three questions: what I want people to know, what I want people to feel, or what I want people to do. Because understanding what I want them to know, feel, and do also help me create the tone of that one sheet. Because a lot of times when you're speaking, something may be something a little bit more on a level of personal emotion, or maybe on a level of personal application, because I often tend to communicate in two different variables. One is the internal change I want people to advance with, or sometimes the external application I want them to do. And so tone is a big factor for me when it comes to communicating. And those questions help me define that, what I want people to know, what I want people to feel, and what I want people to do. But the last component to practicing effectively is coaching. So one of the areas in my personal life that I live with is I love having coaches alongside me. And so coaches can be friends. The Communicator Circle has meetups where communicators gather at different coffee shops around the country. And that's a coaching process. It's a welcoming time for anybody. There's no cost to that. But we believe that coaching helps us practice better. And so people can come alongside you, hear your talk, listen to your ideas worth sharing, helping you kind of critique that attention getter or the dismount. And that's part of coaching, because every communicator learns the best from feedback. I do a lot of work with comedians, and we have found that comedy writing is very difficult on paper, but it works very well on stage because the audience can never lie if something's funny. Even for myself as a communicator, there are several venues I go to share a talk for the purpose of incubation and feedback, for me to learn from the audience what's working before I take that message on the road around the country. Because coaching is essential. And so you need to have people around you to listen to what you're going to say, to give some feedback to it. And that's all part of the practicing process. Create that one sheet. Make sure you identify the tone in which your message is going to be communicated. And then don't forget to have coaching a part of your process of practicing. Doesn't mean that you have to have somebody technically that you're paying for. It can be a personal friend. If you want a professional coach, reach out to me. I know some great people that I'd love to introduce you to that can come alongside you. But ultimately, the practice is what gives you the preparation to take the stage to communicate with confidence, because your message matters. But don't skip this process of practicing, because that really sets the difference between professional communicators and amateurs. And I hope that you continue to practice well, because your message matters.